Whoa. That was weird. That was weird. It didn't do it like it normally did. It like took a little bit for me to be able to hit the live button. Well, I hit the live button. It took like 3 years for it to go live. That was different. Huh. Well, hello, hello. It is me. Start a little later than originally anticipated, but it's specific time of the year, and I'm a big procrastinator, and it just so happens today is the last day to do a certain thing, and I'm choosing the last day to do it. That's kind of a new thing. I usually do this like day one, but I actually have to wait for more than one paperwork to come in these days. What? It is Homestuck time. Look at the epilogues. Meet. I think we are. No, we are at 3. Meet chap. No, not chapter. Meet epilogue 3. Section 3 is epilogue 3, right? But how does how does AO3 separate these? Are they just different story, different parts? I guess. Technically, it's not AO3, but it's based on AO3, right? But okay. But here we are, the epilogues. Bop. Okay. Be a little bit quicker on this. Get started on this because I have to do things today. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Let's just zoom in. Bum, bum, bum. It is epilogue 3, right? Yeah. So what happened at epilogue, but right before this? Oh yeah, we have Vriska for 3 paragraphs. Oh no, for more than that. Or Vriska for quite a while actually. And now we're out of it. Okay, so we're back at the point where we are gonna see what happens at the end. Well, maybe. Then Homestuck. Maybe. What? Okay. Oh. Oh, that was different. I'm not used to the pages like zooming like that. Have they always done that? Or am I zoomed in like a little more than normal right there? Maybe a little zoomed in a little more. Okay. What do we got talking? Okay. Epilogue 3. Page or chapter 14. Jake yawns and knocks on the window to Jane's office again. For some reason, Jane has the shades pulled shut all the way around. So he's been hovering here for way too long in his best tie and his best pair of short shorts. There's a crowd gathered below, gaping at a rare in-person appearance of a globally famous butt. The sunset has turned the head offices of Crocker Corp into a shimmering glass monolith, a beacon, if you will, of the future, visible for miles in every direction. Jane probably likes to think about it that way at least. Yeah, you're on time. Hello, hello. Speaking of Jane, she pops her head out from between 2 strips of silk lined. Wait, did I read this part? No, because no. Ah, globally famous, but I did not read this part. I forgot how to read this word again. Oh my god. Um, Vanish. There we go. There we go. It just has to one of these days will get programmed into my mind. Okay. Speaking of Jane, she pops her head out from between 2 strips of silk lined Vanish blind to glower at Jake, who is hovering uselessly in the air. Use the front door, she mouths at him, but he responds with his specialty, incomprehension. I'm sorry, what? The exasperated hand motion Jane tries next work better. Oh, the front door, of course. Jake flies down to the street so he can take the front entrance. He whistles a quaint little ditty to himself while he waits for the elevator to go up to the top floor. This time he knocks on the office door, and Jane lets him in. Hmm. Inside the office, it's dark and hazy. The whole place is candle lit, and Jane is reclining on her desk, sprawled out like a lounge singer on a grand piano. Specifically, a blue lounge singer on a blue piano. Hmm. Just like one of the hideous velvet paintings Jake bought in New Prospect a few years ago. Like all of his impulsive purchases, the tacky thing is gathering dust in a pile somewhere in one of the hundreds of spare rooms in his mansion, which now primarily function as a very expensive warehouse for his atrocious hoarding habits. Hmm. An intimate knowledge of his hoarding habits, particularly the type of sultry, Krulian content he is known to hoard, is exactly why Jane is wearing a blue dress with a very high hem. Jake's bow tie practically spins at the sight of it. He freezes on the spot, an animal in predatorial headlights of this Bazam businesswoman? Buxom? What? Huh. Buxom. Okay. That's how you pronounce that word. Wow. Hmm. Come have a glass of scotch with me, Jake. We have so much to discuss. Indeed. He crosses the office and shakily accepts the offered glass of ludicrously expensive fermented barley grain. He raises it to his nose and pretends to sample the scent. Jane, I must say that Jane, I must say that is a very striking ensemble. Ah, oh, you like it? Why don't you, er, come take a closer look? She's really bad at this, she thinks. This being seduction. She's so bad at it, in fact, that Jake immediately recognizes her ruse for what it is, laughing nervously. He sucks the whole glass of scotch into his mouth in one go, ice cubes and all. And then, because he can't actually stand the taste of scotch, immediately spits it back out, ice cubes and all, spraying Jane's brand new sexy dress with quite an ungentlemanly fountain of boozy spittle. Jane is lashed both by the scotch in her face and how quickly her plan has fallen apart. At least this, at least this invite to dude is a striking ensemble rather than a can. Okay, like I mean, it's essentially the same. Well, no, this actually kind of this is different, right? Because that it was good evening, good evening. That is the correct time. So it's different, right? Because this is Jane inviting Jake over with that explicit intention, right? And the other way is Jane goes to Jake's drunk, like he's incoherent basically. Um, well, I guess he wasn't like fully incoherent actually in the thing, but he seemed incoherent. Then they both became incoherent. So it's more of like a gray zone in Candy. It's a little different. Hmm. But yeah. Hmm. And both are technically like affect the mind, right? So it's not fully it's not even fully different in a sense. Is this is technically worse? Is it worse? Hmm. is it worse? Before she didn't have the intention. Well, that wasn't the initial intention, right? This entire thing is just that. You wouldn't say so. The intention here, I mean, from like, in my mind, it's from Jane's and only, in like which way is worse. How did it happen in Candy again? Did Jane just start drinking? Because this is with the intention of it, right? That's the whole point here. And maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe the drinking part's not part of it. You can only say yes, truly rather than dubiously. Well, you give him booze, and then he gets intoxicated, and both are like out of their they're both out of the sense of being able to do that. And this would be her just trying to seduce him. In this one, in particular, is the point, right? In Candy, that wasn't the intention, right? It just that just happened. Unless it fully was. The way it's worded, though, it was more of like, that's kind of just what happens. That is kind of stuff that happens with two adults. Especially two, like, kind of like mentally broken? No. Both with certain issues, right? What? Yeah. Maybe not. No, I do think this is probably her, at least, because this is the plan. The plan was to, hey, let's get him here to do it. The other one's not, so it wasn't so much of that. Jane. Jake. But jabbers. Oh no. All over my new dress. Jane, I am so sorry. Here, let me help you clean that giggle water off your kettle drums. No. You've done enough. Goodness, you've only been here 2 minutes and already. Why did I even think? Jane, please, I insist. I guess, but to you, this is a lot less dubious. Well, her plan is for him to never caught on to what her plan was, and was to get him intoxicated to make it like to coerce him, basically, right? So this was 100% that intention, right? Or I guess maybe not, because the alcohol's there. Because does she assume he likes it? Because because it's stated before that she thinks he likes it, or the public thinks he likes it. So maybe it was more just playing into his favor and seeing what happens. It has only been 2 minutes. Jane, please, I insist. She tries to push him away, but Jake considers himself to be a gentleman. He helps her to the floor and shrugs off his dress coat so he can use it to wipe her down. She is staring at the ceiling like she hopes it will split open and suck her into a supermassive black hole so she doesn't have to deal with anything that is going on right now. Some of Jake's scotchy slobber is on her glasses, which is not the place she was planning on having it tonight. Okay. Is this why you wanted to see me? To show off, this proper bit of frock? Oh, no, of course not. I just wanted to talk about the economy. By Jove, the economy. Jane, my dear friend, please tell me all about the economy. Jake doesn't care about this economy, but he's an ardent supporter of changing the subject. Anytime I see this word, I think of Arden Sensor from League of Legends. Ah, that was such a fun meta to watch. Oh my god, Arden Sensor, Arden Sensor, Arden Sensor said 15,000 times during League of Legends Worlds. Back back in my day. Damn. Damn. I'm old. Ah, ah, ah. It's doing quite well right now, actually. I should hope so. But it might not continue to do so in the future, which you can guess is not of great concern to me, being that I am a pioneering entrepreneur. Yeah. Oh, well, Frig, that's awful, and you should do everything in your power to adequately explain to me this conundrum, which I admit I'm not up to dick on. You not up to dick on. Jane laughs quite sincerely as he ruffles his jacket through her hair. Oh, Jake, you really have no idea what's going on, do you? Wait, is this about the election muck up? Because I. Jane puts a finger to Jake's lip and shushes him. It's a very smooth move. A total recovery. He shushes, and she directs him to one of the couches that line her office. They stumble there, his jacket in hand still wrapped around her shoulders. I'm sure you've had an earful about the election already. I apologize. You must understand that my mind is quite occupied by it right now. But I've been doing an awful lot of thinking as of late. I see. About what? About everything, I suppose. All about my life, about all of our lives and the trajectory taken they've taken since we helped create this new universe. You must admit that it's a lot to grasp, and I'm not certain we've all taken the time to truly contemplate our place in it. You guys are mentally kids, never had a real childhood, and are trying to control an economy. Uh, I think mentally kids is kind of incorrect. They're kind of just like fucking young adults. Um, One thing I think about is fucking 18-year-old me fucking was an idiot and essentially was a child. I perceived things I felt thinking back on it. And then probably up until I want to say 21, 22 is when everything fully felt established. I want to say it was actually established. But that, let's say, young adult, super young adult is really such a mess. I'd only say John is mentally a kid. Uh, John, John's just an idiot. Jake's an idiot too. So sometimes it's not because they're mentally a kid. It's just because they're an idiot. It's been established that Jake's stupider than John, right? By a long shot. Yeah, that's established. That's established by a lot. Yeah. And he probably has a concussion. Like he probably has had multiple concussions in the same day. Then he god tiered. So does that change things? It don't matter. It's a hmm. This is not really the kind of conversation you initiate if you're looking to extract a sexual deal out of someone. It is, however, the kind of conversation that you might have with a childhood friend who has become somewhat emotionally estranged from you. Sean kind of wants to be in the past more than Jake. Does he? Maybe meet Jake. Candy Jake, no. Candy Jake, definitely no. Both so busy with their exciting careers and misuse of their godhoods. Who are they now? The same Jake and Jane who passed like who passed like particularly dysfunctional ships in the night a decade ago? Or is Jane wiser and Jake kinder? Are they better versions of themselves? Jane absently rubs the narrow strap of her dress between two fingers, vainly attempting to sort out her jumbled thoughts. Candy, these roles are reversed. Yeah. Uh, yeah. In a way they're reversed, yeah. That's an earful, Jane. I know. I know. It's a headful too. I can't help but worry. Haven't we really just been drifting these last 7 years? Drifting both in the sense of failing to fulfill our personal potentials and in the sense of, well, drifting apart. Jane pulls a leg beneath her, which slides her bare knee between Jake's. The couch dips a bit under their weight. I must admit, I never thought of it that way. I know. It's just that we're both so busy all the time. The years go by so fast, and I miss you. Jake blinks, his eyes wet and glossy beneath his spectacles. Ah, well, I suppose that I miss you too, Jane. The moment goes from calculated to genuine in an instant. Jake drops his coat and glides his hand down her bare arm so that he can hold her? Yeah, that's definitely what he's doing. Holding her. Not too gently either. Jane really is quite pretty, with the candlelit glittering across her spectacles, her hair damp, and her front teeth poking out from beneath her lip. She's so pretty that Jake can't stop himself from sliding a hand up to her neck and using his thumb to tip her face back so that they're staring right at each other in the low light, close enough that Jane can probably smell his disgusting Scotch breath. She definitely does smell it, because her cute nose scrunches up and she laughs again. A very small, private noise. Just a noise just for him. So he kisses her. Very well, if he does think so himself. Dirk has given him a lot of uninvited but incis- incisive criticism. Incisive? That sounds right. Seems right. Criticism on his kissing over the years. So Jake wouldn't be surprised if he was considered the best kisser on the entire planet at this point. Oh my god. Toby Maguire with the MTV Awards. Like, when was that? Toby Maguire Best Kiss Award. 2003. Okay. Uh that's a history what everyone needs to know. Was it? I believe it was for this kiss. Best Kiss Award goes to Toby Maguire for this one. Yeah. Damn, that was like fucking 2 decades ago. Over 2 decades ago. Wow. Jane breathes in. Jane breathes in, shocked for a moment. Even more shocked than when Jake hooks a hand around her waist and pushes her down. She makes a startled noise into his mouth. Then she throws her arms around his neck. It should be awkward, taboo at this point, considering the history between them. But it all happens so easily. Jane undoing Jake's bow tie, Jake hooking his thumbs under the hem of her dress and hiking it up another inch it really cannot spare for decency's sake. There is nothing awkward about this moment, Jake thinks. Two old friends, hot as the blazes, giving in to passion? Oh, okay. Where was I at? Two old friends, hot as the blazes, giving in to passion. Who could accuse them of impropriety. Impropriety? Uh, I can't read. Scary. No, nobody birthed their salt in his book. It all makes perfect sense. The inevitable consummation of a whirlwind romance fit for the big screen. Really, the only surprise is how long it took to happen. Jane is a beautiful lady, that's for sure. She always has been, but she's only grown more ravishing as she comes into the full blossom of her womanhood. Smooth, silky skin, thick, dark lashes, full, feminine lips, not to mention curves like the Dickens. It's all certainly conducive to activities of close phonological proximity to the phrase. Jane's baby soft palm, unmarred by the calluses of deft swordsmanship, slides down Jake's cheek and dips under the collar of her shirt. Damn. I'm really comparing it to Dirk right now, huh? She caresses his clavicle. She caresses his clavicle, and then tenderly trails her fingers up the side of his neck, steadying herself as she deepens their passionate kiss. Jane's touch is nothing like Dirk's. Dirk has palms so rough that they sting, especially on skin that's thin and supple, like the column of the throat right over the jugular. He pulls away from Jane's lips and lifts her spectacles off her nose. It's a motion that still feels practiced and familiar, despite how long ago he'd last had the precious chance. Those rare, intimate moments that Jake was allowed to slip off Dirk's shades and look upon his face, unobstructed, stand out more clearly in his mind than almost any other in his life. Jake swallows. He can't stop thinking about how Dirk kissed him last time they didn't hook up, which is a thing, of course, that didn't happen. So, how can Jake possibly be thinking about it? It is just some sort of Pavlovian response that's making his heart race like this. He does his best to push the untimely thoughts away, but his fingers tremble as he sets Jane's glasses aside. Jane gazes back at him, cheeks flushed with desire, eyes dark and alluringly coy. All her features are round and soft, welcoming, smooth. The kind of face that makes you feel like you've come home. Dirk is the exact opposite. Long nose, thick eyebrows, pointed features. A man who seems built down to the very essence of his soul to be sharp, hard to approach, harder still to touch. But when looked at from the right angle, he's anime levels of handsome, breathtakingly, choir of angels singingly, anime handsome. The sort of man you can't keep your hands off, no matter how jagged his edges. But his hair is so much softer than it looks. His heart, too. When a heart like that opens up to you, it opens up the whole world as well. A world of increased appreciation for combat, philosophy, life, love. Dot, dot, dot. Damn. 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 Is Jake a yearner? Is Jake a certified yearner? I didn't think he had the brain powers to yearn. Huh. Yelp. Jake yelps and rolls off the couch in such a panic that he almost takes Jane with him. She flies to her feet, startled, breathing fast, and readjusts her disheveled clothes. Jake, are you quite okay? I have to go now, right now. Sorry. Jake's already hovering 2 feet off the ground before Jane can say another word. He doubles back to the end of the office and grabs the bottle of near untouched scotch before kicking open the latch to one of Jane's giant windows and letting himself out. Oh, damn. Interesting. Damn. he's gonna get is he gonna get like fucked up and text his ex? Oh my god. He's got a lot of things to think about, apparently. What the ever living fuck? Ah, Jane. Ah, poor Jane can't hold a candle to what dirt can do with philosophy, life, and love, and combat, I guess. Obama, Jake, maybe they're the same person. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know if Jake's certified unit. Depends on how much narration is his thought or not, which is always hard. Uh, uh. So like we can assume. So we can assume that the narration isn't exactly his thoughts, right? But at least it's implied that he's thinking of Dirk. Otherwise this entire thing is so fucking weird. Then it's just him going, whoa, Jane. Remember when you were evil and threatened to make me sire? No, is that the right one? A gajillion billion babies or whatever it was. But it's a bit more fanciful. Sunfire, you gotta stop. Uh, uh, Jake's already hovering 2 feet off the ground before Jane can say another word. He doubles back. Oh wait, I read that part. I was thinking. Jane stands alone in her office, confused, horny, and kind of pissed. Damn. Can't blame her. Can't blame her at all. Like you kind of actually can't blame her at all there. Is it wrong to invite someone over on false pretenses? She slowly slips a strap of her dress back over her shoulder. Then she closes the window, sits in her CEO chair, and speed dials the number for her one-man kitchen cabinet. I'll be right back. Give me moments. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Hello. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Um
Oh,
The old signal, man. Come on.
Yo, what up?
Not Jake, apparently.
Wow. Going straight for the double entendre, huh? How much of that scotch did you have?
I think a few drops made it into my mouth when Jake spewed his beverage directly onto my face, kind of hot.
Things went that badly, huh?
Uh, this is so embarrassing. You know, I wouldn't have approached it this way if I wasn't absolutely certain its margin for error was virtually non existent. I mean, it's Jake.
Were you nice to him?
Well,
I told you, you can't be nice to Jake. Listen, Jane, I don't really have time to jam right now. Why don't you leave Jake to me?
Jane squeezes her eyes shut and very softly and quietly bumps her head against the edge of her desk. Why do I feel as if we've had this exact conversation almost word for word before?
Because we have, many times.
Well, what do we do now? I'm afraid I've gone and made things worse.
Like I said, let me work on it. I know what I'm doing.
You always say that.
I haven't been wrong yet.
Fuck. Jane, head still planted firmly on the desk, laughs at that. There's a sardonic twist in Dirk's voice that intentionally recalls every time he's ever fucked up. But it satisfies Jane nevertheless. She knows that he won't fail her. Fine. Please call me later so we may strategize. And also because I could use some emotional support after what just happened.
I might be caught up for a while.
Why is that?
Can't explain right now. Catch you on the flip side, Jane.
Wait. Dirk doesn't wait. There's a shadow cast on in his doorway that is much more important than the election. Rose is braced against the doorframe, one hand on her purse and the other on her waist. She has her head tipped just so, her pale hair falling across in her face at an angle that bisects her perfectly neutral expression. Dirk sets down his phone and acknowledges her with a nod. Well, go on. Bop. We're back. Oh, we're back with the fight. Okay. Interesting. Hmm. John, fight Lord English. All around you is pandemonium, a multi-chromatic cyclone of shrieks and clashing colors. As Mina's ghost army claws at the borders of paradox space. Wait, that is her army, right? It seems like it's been so long since you've thought about any of this. But you're pretty sure this is the army you, Mina, Briska, and the other circuit were trying to raise. So it's true then. The juju has finally unloaded you exactly where you needed to be. Every screaming body pitches down and goes white the closer it gets to the black hole above you. And below, front and center, is Lord English himself. The big deal version, pimped up, hulked out, and throwing a huge, universe ending tantrum. Unlike his younger form, his eyes aren't flickering wildly. They're locked in place, an 8-ball in each socket. Bah. Sockets. You briefly wonder what that means, but your curiosity is interrupted by a massive outburst of technicolor dragon breath coming from his mouth. The laser show tears its way through a squadron of ghosts led by. Is that Tavros? Seems like an awful choice to lead an army, but what do you know? Wasn't Vriska supposed to be leading the charge? Where is she, anyway? Listen. You don't have time to dwell on Vriska. She's probably somewhere around here, biding her time, waiting to execute her masterstroke and finish English off at just the right moment. Like the cunning bitch she is. No, you can't think about that now. You're becoming enraptured by the sound surrounding you. Not a sound, a sensation, a subharmonic symphony that you can only hear in your bones. This is it. The end of paradox space. The thing you saw in your anime dreams. A hard lump of air travels down your throat, but you don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Yeah, there we go. Behind you, the juju disappears, sucked out of reality with a pop. You move your arms in a dumb little motion, sort of like jazz hands, and summon up a wisp of winds to keep your cracked glasses in place. You then pull one of your sickest hammers out of your strife deck. Your teen friends follow suit. You cast a glance back over your shoulder at them. They all look cool. Rose, knitting light around her with the quills of echidna. Dave with his sword, Khaled flutch. At the ready, trailing time distortions behind him that look, if you don't squint, a lot like JPEG artifacts. Jade, oh, Jade got her favorite gun cocked and ready, with her ears perked up.
Let's do this.
Don't get overconfident. We have to do it exactly like we discussed. First. But Rose doesn't get to finish what she was trying to say. Lord English's mouth roars open and a wave of energy blasts through your group. Rose is the only one caught in it. She dissolves in a slow motion. You can see the outline of her body in shadow, one arm thrown up over her ears, shoulders pulled up defensively, cape billowing out behind her. She leaves an after image of shimmering light in her wake and then dissipates, drifting apart like a handful of salt tossed out to sea. You can almost hear the cosmic clock counting down, tick tock, and a chime to accompany her fate. Heroic.
Rose, no!
Jade doesn't wait to fire. Space splinters are open around her so loudly it drowns out the fire from her rifle. Lord English raises one of his giant fuck off hands to deflect her anomaly powered bullets, giving Dave an opportunity to attack. Dave raises his legendary blade and aims for the impressively beefy torso. It should be a sure hit, like slashing the side of an unusually broad green barn, but he whiffs it completely. It's a wonder how much a big man can move so fast. Jade inspects her rifle and tosses it aside. What is she doing? With all the powers of a witch of space at her command, combined with the infinite abilities of a first guardian, she's still messing around with basic firearms. She can make two tight fists and strike a pose befitting of a warrior about to power the fuck up. She focuses and strains. A doggy snarl rips its way through her clenched teeth. A hazy aura envelops her as space buckles and lenses about her form, and then nothing. No crackle of electricity, no licks of Cheddaroo's flame. She searches within, realizes her power source is completely unavailable to her. Then she looks up, and it dawns on her. That thing in the sky, the hungry black orb gobbling up everything in sight, that's where the green sun used to be. It's been swallowed it's been swallowed completely by a black hole. The realization is horrifying. She feels suddenly absolutely helpless. Jade opens her mouth to scream for help, but she's cut off. A razor sharp fragment of reality slams into her back. It skewers her, exiting right through the center of the space symbol on her hoodie. She chokes and goes limp, encircled by a halo of her own blood. Get in there. You're barely a minute into the battle, and both your tactician and your most powerful player are down. You summon a windstorm to momentarily keep Lord English preoccupied and try to grab your sister's wrist. Instead, you catch her by the hem of her skirts. Lord English struggles to emerge from the wind prison you just whipped up. You can see one of his arms flailing just outside the circumference of your storm. Tavros has pulled himself to his feet and, recognizing English's temporary state of vulnerability, directs the ghosts on his side to attack. No one is paying attention to him. Interesting. Okay. Jade is floating away from you. You're having a hard time maintaining your whirlwind, your glasses, your hammer, and your grip on her. Lord English's head has emerged from the apex of your storm. He looks directly at you, and his mighty jaw creaks open slowly, well beyond the reasonable capacity of any mortal mandible hinge. You stare directly down the dark barrel of his throat, which readies another terrible laser shot. There is not much time to react. Make a decision. You let Jade go. She floats in literal slow motion, buoyed by the billows of her skirt. You summon a gust of wind and push her farther away from the battle. You're hit by a blowback from the currents. From the currents, and a line of her blood splashes across your face. But releasing her has created enough separation, just as you hoped. The laser breath passes between you, narrowly missing you both. You reel back like you've just been punched. Your control over the storm goes haywire for a second, long enough for Lord English to free his gaudy gold peg leg from it, and more catastrophically, for you to drop your already broken glasses. You whirl around and swing your hammer to bop his horrible, deadly skull back into your storm. You can't really see what's going on, but to hear a gigantic crunch, and then another, and another. It sounds like a cereal commercial is playing outside the periphery of your vision. There we go.
I swear, could this day possibly get any stupider?
It's my guy. That's my other guy right here too. You're a meshy.
Hey, Kuwabara, you're conscious. I'm not used to that.
It was a cheap shot last time. I was knocked out for a little bit, okay? Now I'm back. I can't remember it. You're a meshy. You're a meshy.
Dave,
You're what?
is Lord English eating my hammer?
Yeah, dude. He totally is.
What the fuck?
It's true outrage. This isn't going to work. Waging battle without your glasses? Lord English has just eaten one of your sickest hammers due to your blind folly. You take a deep breath and dive down, right into the sea of ghosts. You land clumsily, palms first, and do an accidental handspring right back into a bunch of alternate timeline trolls you don't recognize.
Hey guys, anyone see a pair of glasses down here? It's pretty important.
Everybody shrugs. This gaggle of lost souls collectively personifies uselessness. It is inconceivable to you that a single one of them will survive this battle. Perhaps it's for the best. Behind you, the wind barrier tears open. Lord English explodes from his confinement and swings his peg leg through the army. Ghosts scatter like bowling pins, many flying into the cracks in space. Before the leg hits you, a troll leaps into action, blocks up the blow. Her trident makes a satisfying ring off the ground of the peg and sends it skidding backwards.
Wow, that was a close one.
Shall have a time to finally show up.
Sorry, we were kind of busy. Bit of a weird question, but have you seen a pair of glasses down here?
Uh, are these what you're looking for? Tavros appears behind you and hands your glasses. Hands over your glasses, still in two pieces. You return them to your face so you can take a quick assessment of the battlefield. Take a quick assessment of the battlefield. Oh boy. Lord English, now free from your wind trap, is stomping around, throwing an even bigger shit fit than before. The black hole above him is getting bigger. You can see the ghosts at the edge of the battlefield tumbling through space toward it, distorted, screaming, and helpless. Also, Tavros suddenly is leading an admirable charge of about six ghosts to attack Lord English's flesh foot. You wince, because you can see what's coming before it happens. It's a shame, because you didn't have the chance to thank him for finding your glasses. English raises his knee and then stomps three ghosts into oblivion. The other four, Tavros included, get vaporized in a beam. The ghost army seems to be thinning out pretty badly by now. Most of the ones remaining are either fleeing or getting sucked into the hole. You whip out another hammer, a classic this time, the wrinkle fucker. Its boinging pair of irons are hot, hissing, and ready for action. You use the wind to propel yourself back towards the fray. Davis slicing paper cuts in the English's torso with glancing nicks from his blade, but the monster's spry as ever, making him a difficult target. You take advantage of his distracted cavorting, to whack him on the side of the skull. Your hammer connects with a satisfying crunch, and he stumbles back, but recovers and lunges forward in a motion so quick you can barely follow it. English grabs the wrinkle fucker with his mouth. You hold it on tight, but he starts shaking his head rapidly the way a dog with a rabid ties tries to break its neck. He chomps down hard and shatters the hammer's head, gobbling down the broken pieces. You watch incredulously as the giant dude eats yet another one of your favorite hammers. Unbelievable. He lunges for the handle in a ridiculous greedy attempt to finish what's left of your weapon. You recoil, careening out toward the black hole, but manage to stabilize yourself. You look at the handle of your tragically masticated wrinkle fucker, shrug, and toss it into the hole. How do we make him go into the black hole? Glancing back down towards your foe, you notice Mia still appears to be hanging on, clinging to his left suspender. Yo, hold on. Going in for the Krell. Dave takes a step back to provide some space for whatever killer move she's got up her sleeve. She raises her trident and jams it into the back of Lord English's neck. English reacts as if he's been stung by a bee. He howls and rears up, throwing Mina off his back with a force that sends her hurtling out into space. You can't track her into the void with your eyes. She's flung so far and so fast, you can only assume the worst. Glancing back down, you see English hasn't wasted any time after ridding himself of the irksome heiress. He has Dave pinned under his big green foot and is applying pressure. You've got to act fast. You flip out another hammer. You don't care which one, and send it flying toward the monster's face. English quickly whips his head in the direction of the sailing hammer and swallows it whole. You rush after it, reaching for another hammer without thinking. The brief distraction aside from aside from providing English with another tasty hammer snack, seems to have bought Dave just enough wiggle room to slip out from under the foot, regain his composure, and draw his sword. Rest in, I don't know about that one, but yeah. You're a meshy, John. I need a little. Dave ducks a wide blow from English's swinging fist. He backs up nervously, holding his sword out in front of him with two shaking hands. Oh. Anything. I need a little anything right now. Literally any stupid fucking thing you can do.
I'm on it.
Damn. Buck Dave's 16 and he's 23 in this one, I think. Is he 16 at this point? I think so. You pop your strife deck open and just spam the hell out of your remaining hammers. A few excellent hammers that cost you a fortune to make. A bunch of shitty hammers you made as a joke, and everything in between. With another flick of your wrist, you spin them around you so fast they form a perfectly impenetrable barrier to your shitty hammers. Okay, the barrier's probably not the slightest bit impenetrable, but you've got to psych yourself up for this next attack somehow. In your hand is a weapon you haven't thought about in a long time. The Papa Matrix Vrily. It hums with both tricksy energy and the barely contained potential for mischief. You strike the baddest ass pose possible to strike while wielding such a clownish looking implement, and you begin your advance. However, you're interrupted by a voice screaming out from behind you. It's half familiar, half cat. Wait! How did I do this one again? Wait! You whip your head around just in time to see a bolt of orange and green energy racing by like a bullet. It slams into Lord English, sending him stumbling. I'm back! Dave stands there with his sword absolutely agog, his expression perfectly reflecting a blend of horror and the total inability to process who or what he is looking at. Dude, I can't believe you don't recognize me. It's me, Dave Sprite, and also Nepeta. Now we're called Dave Better Sprite Squared. We permanently merged forms and worked out all of our shit. Oh, well, that sounds fucked up, but okay. Dave Peta spreads their wings, sending waves of warm light through the battlefield. The light feels comforting somehow when it hits you. Behind them, Lord English is struggling to his feet again, roaring as he rolls from one side to another like a kicked over turtle. His muscles are so huge, it's hard for him to maneuver. Dave Peta exists. Dave Peta. I don't know. I don't know if we love Dave Peta, but they're there. It would be hilarious if only all reality weren't tearing apart at the seams around you. The sky shivers and shakes, raining needles of breached matter that burst and shatter at all angles, opening new voids where they land above the bedlam. Dave Peta is finishing up an inspiring speech. You realize you tuned most of it out due to the surrounding chaos. Dave Peta's no mayor, and they're no mayor. I know it looks powerful right now, but we can do it. In fact, we're literally the only ones who can do it. After all, it's our destiny. Well, that last bit was pretty good, you guess. At least you caught the end, which was presumably the most important and uplifting part. You and Dave exchange a look that silently says all that needs to be said right now. Dave Peta is right. You three are the only ones left, and there's no room for failure. Final round. The last leg of the fight proceeds like a well-oiled machine. Perhaps a well-oiled machine careening down a steep hill toward the edge of a cliff. But well-oiled nonetheless. You, Dave, and Dave Peta, that's what you call a team. And not just because, upon examining your surroundings, you three appear to be the last three living or dead beings left in existence. But damn it, you'll take it. You turn your hammers into an efficient spiral, a carousel of ass-kicking, and direct its fury right at Lord English's face. The butts of the hammers hit him over and over again, like racking up points in a slot machine. Dave manages to carve the red line up Lord English's side, drawing real blood this time. The slash snaps one of his suspenders in half, and must sever something else too, because the sword makes a grisly, meaty squelch when he pulls it out. Dave turns, a half second too late to avoid getting sprayed by the wound. English howls and swipes at Dave. Not wasting any time, you bury the hammer into his gaping mouth. Unsurprisingly, it gets swallowed, so you throw another one. Now you're just throwing them into his fucking mouth like you're feeding him Scooby snacks. It's a gluttonous display you won't soon forget. You realize you seem to be stuck in a cycle and are in serious danger of running out of hammers.
Dave! Cat sprite thing! Help!
Come, coming, bro. Dave Petta scrapes their cool. Wolverine claws up Lord English's back and then kicks him in the back of the head. You time it perfectly and complete the combo with a well-placed Really Who undercut to his jaw. On the snapback, Lord English grabs the head of your hammer in his mouth.
Oh no, not again. You big, ugly oof. Oof. I really, really like this hammer.
Maybe it's the sentiment attached to the hammer, or maybe you're just fed up with this gross pig treating your full inventory of hammers like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But this bullshit stops here, you think, which is why you refuse to let the handle go when English wraps his tongue around it and unhinges his jaw with a sick, wet pop. You plant one foot under his nose and the other in his mandible and tug back. He makes a guttural sound at the back of his throat and sucks the Really Who deeper in. Your heel slips on some drool, and your whole leg skids straight into his mouth. You twist, off balance, and fail to catch yourself. You only let go of the hammer when you feel the walls of his throat constrict around your ankles. The pressure sucks you in up to the knee with one gulp. Really Who is in his stomach, and you're following it down quicker than you can even process. Is this the end? No, you think. This is such an unfairly stupid fucking way to die. John! Dave Petta flashes behind you and hooks their arms under your shoulders. They yank you out, clearing your head from the monster's maw at least. But English rehinges his jaw and clamps down on your chest. Hard. Dave Petta reacts quickly, shoving their claw between his molars. You can hear them growling as they slowly twist their arm to pry the massive jaw open. You're not dead yet, but Lord English definitely got a big, sharp tooth in you. Your vision reels and goes blurry, then patchy, then dark, then don't fucking die. You pass out for, well, you have no idea how long it was, but it was long enough for Dave Petta to get you out of Lord English's mouth. You can see their face floating above you. They're just a smudge of neon swimming in a sea of chaos. Bro, you almost got bored to death.
What?
I'm afraid to say that you look like a total shit, my dude. You should stay here while we wind this bitch down. Permuse? Me, you won't move. Permuse, okay.
Permuse?
Promise.
Oh.
Dave Petta holds something up to your face. Your glasses. They tuck them into the front pocket of your hoodie and pat you on the head before darting through the air back toward the battle. You're woozy and don't have the energy to stop yourself from drifting. There's blood floating up around you, dilute and bubbly in the air like cooking oil in water. It's yours. Examine wound. You lift your chin and see it. Lord English's gold tooth cracked off at the base and embedded in your chest. It must be stuck between two of your ribs, you think, because it hurts like a bitch when you try to breathe. You keep your head up and watch the battle, but it's all so indistinct and far away, playing out like shadow theater on a wall. Dave finds his moment. He rams Khaled Fletch into Lord English's chest, all the way up to the hilt. It penetrates his flesh like nothing else has to this point. The wound around the blade sizzles slightly. The weapon, the unusual material it's made out of, is poison to English. He cries out in a cracked, broken staccato. It's an ear-splitting wail that cleaves the last of the furthest ring apart. Reality falls away from the mooring. The mooring? And all surrounding white light like a peeled eggshell. Dave's trying to get his sword free, but he's stuck. English's shriek morphs into a sinister, predatory rattle as his jaw creaks open. His mouth envelops Dave's head and snaps shut. Damn. He twists once, then twice, then again with a crack. A disaster of blood instantly coats his skull and upper torso. He swallows the disembodied head whole with a triumphant gulp. The limp torso goes spiralingly lazily in the direction of the black hole. Dave Petta is yelling something indistinct. Or maybe they're just yowling at the top of their lungs. That's what you feel like doing right now, but you can't move. Your limbs feel like lead. You consult your strife deck, but you've got nothing left. No hammers, no nothing. It's up to Dave Petta, who appears to have plenty left. It's not in the strife deck per se, then in the heart. During the beast's grisly moment of gloating over the younger Strider's death, Dave Petta stands 20 paces behind him, crouches low to the ground, wiggles their behind, and pounces. They cling to English's back, wrap their legs around his midriff, draw back their arms, and plunge their claws deep into the behemoth's armpits. Their gloved hands end up knuckle deep in the upper stratus muscle on either side. Dave Petta then spreads their wings in an awe-inspiring display. An unwitting spectator viewing Lord English from the front might suspect the garish orange-green wings to belong to English himself. Dave Petta then, with all their might, lifts Lord English into the air and flies towards the black hole, trailing ribbons of blood and neon. English resists fiercely, but they're both already locked in the gravity well, beyond any threshold of escape. He cannot do anything about it, no matter how much he screams and cries. Okay, so that's how he ends up in there. This victory, this final sacrifice, has always been the destiny of Dave Petta, as they have sensed from the moment they were created. And to die on this day, in this way, has always been the destiny of Lord English. The black hole, the gaping, impalpable, cosmic embodiment of the dead cherub, his long departed sister, finally welcomes Lord English home. English and Dave Petta are sucked into a subatomic whimper. The reunion sends shock waves across the pitiful remains of paradox space. And then everything is wholly, utterly, and categorically silent. It's over. Lord English is dead. But it doesn't feel over, somehow. You don't feel like you've won. You can barely feel anything, actually. All you can think about for now is Dave Petta. How they were so unfettered and brave. How they sacrificed themselves by flying right into the black hole. Like a fucking piece of garbage, you can almost hear Dave saying, "May God rest his soul." You collapse against whatever is passing for the floor at this moment, of utterly null corporeal conditions surrounding you. It doesn't feel possible. You're not sure you can even trust your perception well enough to believe it, but it seems to be over. You've convinced yourself of this truth well enough to allow yourself to exhale, enough to allow yourself to suddenly acknowledge the agony coursing through your body, emanating from the gold tooth lodged in your chest, enough to allow yourself to succumb to the overwhelming urge to sleep. Close your eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Now he's just in nothingness, huh? Oh, okay. Is he in nothingness? Yeah, he would be. So there's nothing. Hmm. And this John's gonna die or just end up killing himself or something. Now that'd be weird if that happened. Wait, I can't say that on YouTube, can I? I use like the unalive. Hmm. This was interesting. Dave got decapitated. Was any form of Dave decapitated before? I can't remember. No other Daves have died, but I don't know if it was by decapitation. Next page. Rose. When I was a child. When I was a child, I wrote a novel. Oh, shit. We're talking about the book. Rose is speaking. All of them are doom cells. Rose is speaking with her eyes closed. She is wary, but standing for now near one of Dirk's work tables. She has both hands resting on the chassis of his recent project, Sawtooth 3.1. The energy humming inside its mechanical heart warms her palms. Dirk snorts, but in a good-natured sort of way. That's the closest he usually gets to laughing. Welcome back, returned. Cough. Cough. Okay.
Hello?
Hello. Cough. Hi. Welcome back.
I could hear you and I was speaking.
Well,
Sorry. Okay.
I guess thank you for speaking in some other
I read the line. You know what? That's all I'll say.
place of existence, man.
Bro, another one of those Lalon childhood wizard fics, I presume.
Thank you. He leans his elbow on the table and stares at her all over the rims of his shades. The weight of Dirk's scrutiny is potent. She looks away. Complacency of the learned.
Aha, the wizard fic then.
Yes, of course. It was nothing like the polished masterpiece penned by the middle-aged version of myself from your world. Nor did the saga span as many volumes. 13-year-old Rose only managed to draft the one. It shames me to say.
How pathetic.
I know. Rose steps back, trailing her fingers over the rivets that line Sawtooth 3.1's chest. Eyes closed again. She passes in front of the window, with the sunset behind her. She's a shadow ringed in yellow light that turns white at the tips of her hair. Though, I must say, in defense of young Rose's literary integrity, having carefully studied all volumes of the elder's work, and then revisiting my youthful preteen scribbles of passion, I observed more powerful an emotion in the single ragged notebook than the full span of the best-selling series. It's more raw. It betrays considerably more sincerity than my young self was surely ever aware of stitching into the prose. It meant something. She turns to look at him. For all its plainly evident amateurism, as the literary product of a child, I've come to believe it's a much stronger work standing alone as a single volume. Its meaning and symbolism potently compressed, and its message shining through more nakedly, undisguised by the cleverness of a more seasoned writer. But the basics are the same as the series you've read. The plot concerns the machinations of 12 wizard children. They revolt against the complacency of the wise kind of wizards and go to become responsible for great evils. It isn't their intent to commit atrocities, or within their nature to do so originally. They become corrupted by an overabundance of knowledge, the kind never meant for the mortal mind to grasp.
Yeah, this sounds pretty close to my recollection of it.
It certainly wasn't the most fucked up thing I've ever written, but it was the most psychologically potent, the most personal easily. But the personal aspects to it were all telegraphed through allegory and esoteric symbolism. I wrote it in what would be best described as a fevered haze, as if I were pulling at inspiration beyond myself, channeling the story rather than writing it. You can almost call the process. She runs a hand through her hair, fanning it into a halo that is suspended in the air for a moment, trailing spiderwebs of gold that dissolve into dust. She's smirking now, just a little. Enlightened.
That sucked.
Yes.
It also sounds like it's the opposite of what was going on. Sounds more like you were trapped in a sort of dire creative fugue state, causing you to chart your own mental profile using metaphor revolving around murderous, omniscient children.
Well, considering the playful pun rescinded, apologies for diminishing your presence with my suboptimal health and toll it has taken on my wordplay.
Thanks. It's been very difficult for me.
You've been a real trooper? Is that like the fake way to like do that, or is it pronounced trooper too? It is trooper. Okay. Oh, as in trooper. Doi. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, my point is that I've long suspected my story was a pre manifestation of my seer of light powers. I was seeing beyond my universe into another. My original thesis was that the children represented the 12 trolls who created our universe. But over the years, I have come to see how malleable any apparent fact of numerological significance can be. Adaptable, actually, adaptable to shifting circumstance, changes in setting, stakes, and allied ensembles.
12. That's how many players went through the door at the end of our game.
Exactly. My friends and yours, as well as Kanaya, Karkat, Terezi, and Calliope. Dirk settles in against the wall beside Rose, shoulder to shoulder. She seems to take some measure to comfort in physical proximity. When she finds herself leaning against him, probably without thinking about it, Dirk imagines, because neither of them really do that, he doesn't pull away. If it's her, it's alright. He won't begrudge her a small weakness now.
You describe this as a fact of numerological significance, which makes it seem you suspect these correlations are something less than utterly providential, as if there is a part of you holding on to the belief that certain figures are coincidental, that their significance and repetition smacks of bullshit.
Do they not smack of bullshit?
They smack of a bunch of things, and a bunch of other things also happen to smack of bullshit. But the network of relations isn't perfectly traceable, nor can they all be mapped on a one to one basis. It's unclear exactly which things are smacking, just as it's unclear that when it comes to bullshit, whether or not smacking accurately describes what is being done per se.
Rose looks up to Dirk with the ghost of a smile that she inherited from him. On her face, its blankness is its blankness is an enigma, as the Mona Lisa's. Could it be that it was you who was smacking of bullshit, dear father?
Nah, I smack of many admirable qualities, as well as keen insights.
She doesn't seem to have another riposte to return, but her gaze lingers. She stares into his shades as if convinced she could see past them. Dirk allows their eyes to meet.
I'm just saying it's all evidence of a grand design, an immortal metatextual apparatus beyond our ken that we can only catch glimpses of when we're proverbially shitting our brains out through our nose, which both you and I know.
Which only you and I know, apparently. Which is precisely my question. Her gaze drifts toward the ceiling. In my story, all 12 of the disciples fell victim to the vagaries of power. They were filled with the light of knowledge, and one by one they succumbed to it, turning insane or evil, or most often both. It is the If this is the effect unchecked powers have on players living in a post-canon victory state, then why isn't it affecting any of our friends?
Well, I got a few theories.
She shoots him a look. It's the kind of look Kanai gives her sometimes. Only a few.
I mean, some of us have stopped using our powers completely. Not a whole lot of need for emergency resurrections or complex timeline manipulation on a plan that's never had a conflict more serious than a sports ball or riot or a rumpled hat shortage. But even aside from how often they're used, some powers don't lend themselves to the infinite expansion of one's mind the way ours do.
I see. So what you're saying is, it's more of a matter of one's aspect than it is whether one's powers are practiced further or allowed to atrophy.
Yep.
In that case, Rose sways suddenly. In that case, perhaps Terezi had the right idea. Getting away from this place, I mean. Maybe I was a fool for imagining I could settle down here. She jerks away from the wall in a tortured ragdoll motion, one hand snapping out vainly for something to brace herself against. She staggers forward a bit. Dirk doesn't reach out to steady her. Anyone else might have had the empathetic reflex to do so. Maybe it says something about him that he lacks this reflex. Maybe it says something about Rose that she prefers it this way. Try as she might to convince herself otherwise, though. Oh, through marriage vows and occasional banter about adoption with her wife. She is still a solitary creature. She gasps, sucking breath down her throat. She squeezes her eyes shut, so hard that a tear rolls out. She slides back down the wall, sitting on the floor to save her energy. She's mostly composed when she raises her head. There's bitter laughter at the end of her words. How how are you handling this so well? I assumed it was just that feigned Strider stoicism. But you seem to be taking this.
In stride.
Ugh.
I won't lie, it's definitely making me feel pretty crazy.
Dirk stands over her, adjusts his hair, crosses his arms. He makes no motion to bother joining her on the floor. He looks very together. He says the word crazy with the same intonation with which he might say good morning. It's hard to believe he means it all.
But I've got more practice at this than you do. I spent most of my life before the game multitasking my entire fucking subconscious. I've had several times my age on paper to contemplate these mysteries. Years of prying open can after can of worms filled with answers I don't like. Cut yourself on the edge more than once and you stop getting surprised by all the blood.
I see. Rose wraps her hands around her upper arms. Like there's a winter chill rattling through the workshop. She shivers. It's not the headaches that concern me most. In fact, I don't think it's the expansion of my powers that it's causing the headaches, but rather my own resistance to it. Sometimes I get this feeling that I could, if I really wanted to, just let go. It would be as easy as opening my eyes. It's like that feeling you get when you're far enough out of a dream to be conscious of it, but not yet awake. I'm caught in the liminal space between reality and reverie, where people once believed demons dwelled. But the only reason the demon is still sitting on my chest is because I refuse to banish it. All it would take is looking directly at it. I'm forcing myself to stumble through my life as a sleepwalker. All this pain and sorrow could go away if I would just allow myself to wake up.
Then why don't you?
Because I'm not sure that person opening her eyes will be me. Her last voice is lost at sea, swallowed by the swell of darkness lurking in her imagination. This time, Dirk does reach out to steady her. He kneels in front of her, curls a knuckle under her chin, and lifts her face up to his level. Then, in a deliberate motion, he pulls off his shades.
I understand completely.
Rose's eyelids flutter, heavy. She meets the intensity of his naked gaze aloofly. She's not aware this is the first time. She's not aware that this is the first time he's ever let her see it. Hmm.
I know I sound pretty nonchalant most of the time, but actually I'm scared shitless of myself. I've always had this uncanny ability to chart a course from A to Z and not give a fuck about any of the letters in between. I'm not sure anyone should be allowed to have that much foresight, especially a guy like me.
What upsets me most, I think, is the distance this is all putting between me and everyone I know. The farther above the board you fly, the harder it gets to care about the pieces.
I hear you, and personally speaking, things usually work out for the best when all of those pieces do exactly what I say. So I'm also probably not the kind of guy who should get to be right all the time.
Oh, so far so good. It's so telling about Dirk and Rose. Oh, hello, welcome back. I think last time you said you were sick. Were you sick for 3 years? No. Ah, okay. Rose laughs softly. She's not scared of this abyss she's staring into at all. She doesn't even think to look away. There, ah, there's really not an inch of humility in you, is there?
I've just spent a lot of time in my own head. Maybe absolute self absorption is the inevitable outcome when the self is all you've ever known, when you're drowning in it. I know there's plenty of things that suck about me. No point feigning humility about the things that don't. And yes, I may be a shitty human being, but as a mechanic, I'm off the fucking charts.
Rose's eyes have grown distant, almost mirror like. Dirk can see himself reflected in her vacant stare. All the pieces in their place, the mechanisms all running smoothly. She says this in a hollowed tone. It's the disarming voice a puppeteer ventriloquize ventriloquizes ventriloquist ventriloquizes for a marionette. Her head falls towards her shoulder slowly. Dirt catches her cheek as she slides into sleep. It's difficult for the untrained ear to spot the exact moment in their conversation when the words she was saying stop being hers and start being his. Or maybe they were her words. Does it really matter? In many respects, they're basically the same person, aren't they? Kindred spirits and blood and perspective, the puppet masters of the respective games they've liked to believe they're playing.
But you knew that, right?
Oh, there's been hacked a lot of car issues. Well, which be lurked due to low energy. Okay. Oh. Uh ah. Um uh um one or two. Mr. Gerbos, one or two.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, the lines are orange, and you know,
Yeah?
that implies something,
Yeah?
right? And you
Yeah?
read like the that last sentence there, right?
Yeah?
So, that's there's a precedent set now. I feel
Yeah?
now, huh?
Let me know, I guess.
Um, sure, man. Cough, cough.
None of my friends have noticed it yet, but you have. You have the ability to read between the lines, to understand that our lives are blighted by this undercurrent of subtext, of narrative significance. Anyone paying attention could have guessed by now who's really telling this story. You're not so innocent either. I've caught you leering at some pretty personal moments. Are you having fun being a voyeur? Just violating the shit out of everyone's privacy? Are these teenage romantic entanglements panning out the way you wanted? They never do. Maybe it helps being able to see everyone's thoughts described in plain sight, broadcasting the internal conflicts, the compromises, the doubts. Does it make it easier for you to accept the emotional faltering, the missteps, the basic inability to reach out and seize the opportunity for happiness repeatedly dangled in their faces? Knowing their thoughts are transcribed by a third party, does it fill you with a sense of unease, of sickness, sensing that the observations made of their mental interiors may be tainted? Who the hell do I think I am? I can hear you wondering. You know who I am, of course. The better question is, who do you think you are? What exactly is so special about you? Nothing, of course. I am specific. I have a name, an agenda, a vision. I'm a monolith of concentrated narrative authority, relaying events to you and swaying them as I see fit. Whereas you are pointedly non-specific. You are the generalized, impotent witness to all this. You are essentially as beholden to me as those whose lives I describe. I even have the ability to decide what you actually means. I can take the you-ness away from you and put it inside another passive mark, such as John Egbert. You didn't even notice when I did it. You had no objections then. Why would you object now? So, what makes John so special? The answer is something I'm sure you've suspected all along, but would rather not face, which is probably nothing. He isn't special. He's quite ordinary, I assure you. Boring, even, and getting less interesting by the minute as he's forced to confront his absolute lack of heroic purpose, except as a pawn to be manipulated by a fatalistic reality. But I'd also like to make it clear he's not even that remarkable in his unremarkablessness. He's simply convenient for it. Anyone can be endowed with this you-ness if I think it achieves a certain goal, even if the objective is merely to demonstrate the gambit's potential, to reveal the effortlessness behind it, to make a show of who matters and who doesn't, and even if they do matter, for how long and for what purpose, as dictated solely by the allocation of this faculty. Eunice can be stripped from the lowly Egbert just as easily as it was given, and then bestowed upon the mighty circuit. But even then, only long enough to dismiss the vainglorious spotlight hog from the narrative forever. Good riddance. But I haven't revealed myself to you to boast about the abilities arising from the gradual obliteration of the constraints of my consciousness. I've only taken a moment to answer a few questions, not ones I heard you ask, because again, you are non-specific and therefore do not matter, but ones I imagined you asking. And by imagining these questions, they become less fake and as such demand similarly non-fake answers. No. In truth, the time has come to make my presence known in order to start bringing my plans to fruition. It's time to get down to fucking business. John needs to wake up.
Okay. Hmm. Huh. Fun fact in Candy, the only character who is referred to as you is Candy Dirk. Really? Everything else is in third person rather the Homestuck second person. Dirk sounding pretty bitter. Also, now you know why she was thrown from the story in such an glorious manner. You had a business to see what you got for us, Dirk. Well, anyway, Dirk is taking over the story. Is Doc Scratch learning English or Andrew Hussie? Hmm. Okay. What did you miss? Um, Dirk. You missed Dirk. Huh. Is the rest of this going to be Dirk? No. Probably gonna be start being a mix of both now, I assume. Dirk's losing his mind? Maybe. I mean, he kind of lost it a long time ago. Huh. So, so it's okay. Huh. 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 So this is epilogue. Okay. Well, I only plan on reading one epilogue tonight. Hmm. Okay. I guess you could. I guess this was kind of somewhat. Maybe not Dirk in particular, but like the idea of doing this was somewhat to be expected. But huh. So more of like Prince versus. Hmm. Okay. So the end of Candy. Hmm. How? Hmm. Okay. Drake likes having control over the situation for sure. But some of his Act 6 combos make this all the more interesting. Hmm. Okay, I'm wondering if this is all going to now be okay. I want to just guess I do this then. Oh yeah, it's gonna do that every time. Is there a way to? No, that wouldn't make sense. To be able to cut that out. I'm curious though. Um, anything. Okay. I mean, I assume I'll take this one at face value. Lord English Scratch, Hud's Pool. They've all taken control of the narrative before. Now it's Dirk's turn. Hmm. Why'd I do that? I'm still here. I'm still here. Losing my mind. It's like kind of hot in like the room I'm at right now. So we open up epilogue 3 with Jane fumbling, like she does, into Jake, and into Dirk, showing what I can assume is his full possible control over the story, or influence, I should say. Influence is probably a better term to use, maybe. I don't know if his seems as like fully um as fully fact, maybe. I don't know. It's fully interesting. Blend manipulation involves question. What is the ultimate self? Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that for a bit. I assume they eventually I can't remember if they fully said it yet or they were gonna talk about it. Or if they ever do. One thing I was wondering is if like I'm actually gonna mute here and do this. Yeah. I was wondering if like the ultimate self could be like the not the amalgamation, but maybe of like every version of oneself, right? Uh, at least at a given point. That's something I was like thinking of, but it could also be different. Also, I mean, Andrew Hussie is as a character very much got axed than California did too. Now he's taking up the mantle. Maybe he can, in part due to his the splinters. Dave Petter talks Ultimate Self and Homestuck 1. Yes, I'll do this. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But I don't know. I was wondering if like the idea was could be isn't as like an amalgamation of every version of oneself, but every um existing version. That just be in like a certain at a time point. No, that would eventually mean that almost every single version at one point becomes their ultimate self, no matter what, and that'd be kind of weird. Hmm. I don't know. Just trying to figure out more of why Dave needs a robot body to be ultimate self. Other things are a little different. Hmm. Dave Pettit talks about it too, a little. Adept, a little, yeah. Trying to remember that conversation. I've mentioned this before. I'm not the biggest Dave Pettit fan. I was just saying that this stream. Um, so like my mind has like does not recall Dave Petta as well as other characters. Um, Mostly because of how much of a non-character Nempeta is. I mean, uh, hmm. I can probably start Pester Quest now. Hmm. Time is it? 145, 844. Okay. I'm gonna zoom out at least for now. Okay. Huh. That's so fair. Basically, they tell Jade that if she was the ultimate self, she had memories and experience from all other versions of herself floating into her mind. Yeah. There's a reason why Dirk doesn't need a body involves this question. What are major components of Lord English? Yeah. Hmm. Cool little flip though at this. This is the halfway. No, this is way before the halfway mark, huh? Halfway mark. This one was 44. This one's 41, 41, 44. That's way before the halfway mark. Hmm. So they're talking about the plan that I assume Calliope was. It's in the plan Calliope was talking about. Wanting to stop? Is that what she was talking about? Was that in? That was in multiple sections. But talk about the prince in vague as possible terms. You can either assume the prince is Dirk at that point, or you can assume it's like, maybe some other random prince. Who knows, right? Huh. But now it's pretty much fully 100% without a doubt. I guess it was confirmed fully without a doubt at the end of Candy. Huh. What? Okay. Jane fumbled. Jake Rose got incinerated, disintegrated. Alternate. One Rose got incinerated. Oh, disintegrated. Jade. Jade got stabbed by a shard of reality. Oh, Dave. And John's just out there. Okay. Dirk is made of tough stuff if you factor in his splinters, for sure. Also scary who his splinters are. If you remember Celeborn's masterpiece, Gamzee, Arqueus, and Lord English are tied to Dirk's via alt self. Must mean the rest of the meat is going to be Dirk casually committing war crimes. I always forget that the masterpiece is actually important, not to mention Bro Strider. The rest of the meat is going to be Dirk casually committing war crimes? Nah. 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 Hmm. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to like think. If this Jane is inherently doing something worse at the counter at point of when Candy Jane tries the same, like meets Jake in their whatchamacallit at his mansion. So let's try to think. What is worse? Would be this, right? Would be the meat version of Jane trying to coerce Jake, right? Oh, I'm frozen. Oh my god. Oh, whoa. I have everything on a slightly different spot today, and it's ruining me. Okay. That's probably better. This is a plain speculation and is not confirmed as of yet. But part of English is little Hal, who was just a part of, so technically English is a splinter of Dirk. So one of those two is the puppeteer. Yeah, any possible iteration of Dirk, including little Hal, would be factored in. Hypothetically. Okay. Does? Oh yeah, because Arqueus. Okay. Oh. Damn, this guy really caught up in Jane being a sex pest. Ah. Ah. Hmm. If that. The fight. The John fighting Lord English. It was like it moved things along, I guess. Anything you can consider to be Dirk can potentially be factored into influence him now. This all sounds cool in concept, but is actually horrifying. The main difference between the timelines is that the characters in Candy act out of character or close to fanon depictions, while characters in Meat remain close to the original canon personalities. Okay. Hmm. 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 Oh my god. Why is the cool battle the least interesting part to me? There's a lot of small things that happen that make it interesting to me. Is it because of Dave Petta? No, it wouldn't be that. Oh. Okay. The text during that battle is orange. Imagine this text but orange right here. In the Jake and Jane scene. Where is it? Uh, uh, Interesting anime handsome then. Okay. He gets back at him. Cheeks flushed. Stage, looking at smooth kind of face. Makes you feel like you come home. Drake is the exact opposite. Long nose, thick eyebrows, pointed features. A man seems built down to the very essence of his soul to be sharp, hard to approach, harder still to touch. But when looked at from the right angle, he's anime levels of handsome, breathtakingly, choir of angels singingly, anime handsome. The sort of man you can't keep your hands off of, no matter how jagged his edges. But his hair is so much softer than it looks. His heart, too. When a heart like that opens up to you, it opens the whole world as well. A world of increased appreciation for combat, philosophy, life, love. In their time, right? The prologue of me. The English is death from the start. Yeah. Hmm. It's like if I'm to accept the implication that Dirk is fully in control of a narrative, of at least this point of meat, in just meat entirely. Is he, damn, he's really. Is this still blue balling, or is it like a different term? Oh, yeah. Cock blocking the lad, the Jane. Ugh, damn, you can't affect what happens there. Okay. Well, can he? In theory, he could. I guess he's just describing it. So they can feel these, right? Is that him then, or is that still whatchamacallit? Hmm. I guess this explains the way Dirk's been written. I'm sorry, some of the text been written whenever Dirk's mentioned so far, but I need to figure out the plan for reading the orange text now. I assume the rest of this is orange. And I can't, um, in good faith, expect Gerbos just to read the meat epilogue to me as a fucking bedtime story because I go to sleep after stream. Or maybe I can. Maybe that would be the like best case scenario. It's like a Homestuck read to me as a bedtime story. The epilogues as a bedtime story. Hmm. Maybe that is the best case scenario. Simple, easy, and I'm just like at the end ready to sleep. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Maybe it's solved there. Maybe it's solved there. Oh my god. Fucking that's it. It's figured out. Okay. Oh, it is so hot where I'm in right now. I don't know why. And it's like April. Do I have to put my AC in already? No. A fan would work. A fan would work just fine. Okay. And now that the real reveal's out the way, you can say it. maybe, or we time you out for 3 years, and you're never able to say it. Uh, and stream feet Berg and Gerbos, and Gallivander's Ascent. There we go. Fuck, damn. I'm just chilling on the shoulder. Oh, okay. Should have been an AI of Turk House of Obama. God, Obama. Hmm. Obama was the best thing to come out of this story. Obama was a good part of the story, actually. It was great. It was a great. In Candy, it is revealed so cool. It's revealed so greatly, and then going from Candy to Meat, and just knowing what Obama does in like Candy at the end with Dave, then seeing Obama mentioned here and there, it's pretty good. I guess I won't know what it's like the other way around, seeing Obama, Obama, Obama. Jade, Obama's not fake. She's real, and you got Carcat just laughing at her. So dumb. The Obama bit was hmm was wonderful. It's great. It hmm. Does it encapsulate a lot of things of Homestuck? Because in the end of the day, Homestuck's a goofy web comic. Well, a goofy story about some teens doing, I guess, like, okay, I guess teens going into adulthood, and still has to follow like some like comic or cartoony rules though. Obama's real, then boom, Obama jump scare. Oh, wow, it's good. Peak cinema indeed. I feel like that emotionally charged moment could have been had with at least a splinter of Dirk. We left it up to you to decide your fate. So true. It has its humor moments, but even the funny parts are important. Yeah. Except for I'm trying to think. I can't think. Like, does John's amateur magician hobby come into play in Homestuck? I can't remember. Does it like does it do anything? I'm trying to think. Like other things happen. His other hobbies are in there. Like he was an inspiring amateur magician. Like does he do anything like that? Ugh. The wise guy shows a magic trick that gives him the idea to mess with punch card stuff. Good enough, good enough for me. Good enough for me. This alpha self does. Good enough for me. God. Okay. So every time I like after okay, every time like after Homestuck stream, like these fellow I have like Discord streaming, right? They can see what I'm doing. So they know this, Mr. Gallivanters and Gerby here. I go to like the same like few pages of the comic and just re-look at them, I don't think they're pivotal in like learning anything new about the story, anything like that. But they're just my favorite moments. And I always come back to the moments we come back to Caliborn after game over and he's just lying there, just thinking about the worst thing that's happened to him was getting his ass beat by John right there. 18 didn't like the direction of his story, so he came in and beat him up. I think about that. I feel for my boy Caliborn in that moment of the story. Do that. And what was that? He's actually cursed by it. Hmm. Okay. Oh. Okay. Hmm. Okay, now it's been 2 hours. Now I can, I think, close up stream now, but we got the. Okay. So I will. Being ever is suffering, which is ironic because breath is supposed to be freedom. You should have suffered more. So yeah, I'll be gone. I won't be able to stream on Friday. I'll have work, but I'll be back Sunday. I'll be back Sunday. Sunday, continue epilogue. Probably read the next one. Probably the next whole chapter. Yeah. Not chapter. Epilogue. Would I consider it a part? I think I would consider it a part. Part makes sense to me. Yeah. Okay. Does Mr. Gallivanter's ascent or Gerbo's tactician have any words they want to leave the people with? Oh. Oh, that sounds cursed. Deep fried. Okay. So. Well, this is the end for realsies, though. Thanks for hanging out, stopping by, seeing me suffer reading words in the English I don't know lexicon, and yeah. Bye.